Have you ever noticed how, after a painful breakup, your entire identity feels shaken? Not just because you miss them, but because the future you imagine suddenly disappears. Your routines change, your nervous system changes. Even silence feels different. And what hurts the most is not always the person. It's the attachment to the version of life you thought would continue. But here's something most people never realize. Some relationships are not meant to stay forever. Some people arrive to awaken you, to expose your wounds, to teach you what you have tolerated, to show you the parts of yourself that still needed healing. And when a connection ends, it can either break you or transform you. Because healing is not just about moving on from another person. Healing is about becoming someone new. The pain you feel today may actually be the beginning of your awakening. And if you are currently in that painful in-between stage, where part of you still misses them, but another part of you knows you are changing, this video is for you. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to receive this message. A lot of people think healing means forgetting someone, but true healing is deeper than that. Healing is when their memory no longer controls your emotional state. You may still think about them, you may still remember the good moments, you may even still love parts of them, but your entire day no longer collapses because of those thoughts. That is growth, and growth is rarely comfortable. Think about a seed buried beneath the soil before anything beautiful blooms. There is darkness, pressure, isolation. A tremendous amount of work is happening beneath the surface long before anyone sees the flower. And human transformation works the same way. When your old identity starts dying, it feels confusing. You begin questioning everything. Why did this happen? Why did it hurt so much? Why did you ignore certain red flags? Why did you stay longer than your intuition wanted you to? But sometimes your soul already knew. Sometimes the discomfort you felt during the relationship was actually guidance, a quiet inner voice trying to redirect you toward alignment. And many people ignore that voice because they fear losing love. But what if losing the relationship was actually protecting your future? What if the ending was not punishment, but redirection? Sometimes life removes what no longer aligns with who you are becoming, not because you are unworthy, but because your next chapter requires a different version of you. And that realization changes everything. Because instead of obsessing over why it ended, you begin asking, what is this experience trying to teach me? That question alone raises your consciousness. You stop viewing pain as destruction, and you begin viewing pain as transformation. One of the most powerful things you can understand during heartbreak is this: your mind and body become addicted to emotional patterns, even when a relationship is unhealthy. The nervous system still becomes attached to familiarity. That is why healing feels uncomfortable. You are not only grieving a person, you are withdrawing from emotional conditioning, from routines, from expectations, from imagined futures, from chemical patterns created through attachment. And this is why so many people return to relationships that hurt them, not because the relationship was healthy, but because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. But growth requires entering the unknown, and the unknown is where transformation begins. Most people fear uncertainty because they cannot control it. But the unknown is also where opportunities live. New people, new experiences, new versions of yourself. When you stop trying to force outcomes, you create space for life to surprise you. That is why surrender is so powerful. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing attachment to control. It means trusting that what is meant for you will not miss you. And when you truly understand that, you stop chasing, you stop forcing, you stop trying to convince people to choose you, because you realize the right connection will feel aligned, not confusing, not exhausting, not emotionally chaotic. Love should not constantly activate survival mode. Real love brings peace. A lot of healing also comes from becoming honest with yourself. After heartbreak, many people rush to fill the emptiness. They distract themselves, overdate, overexplain, overshare. But healing teaches discernment. You begin understanding that not everyone deserves full access to you immediately. You learn to slow down, to observe energy, to notice consistency, to pay attention to how people make your nervous system feel. And that changes the way you approach relationships, because emotionally mature people stop searching desperately for validation. Instead, they become deeply connected to themselves first. You stop dating from loneliness, and you begin dating from alignment. That is a completely different energy. You no longer feel the need to perform, to prove your worth, to chase attention. You simply become authentic, and authenticity is magnetic. The more connected you become to yourself, the more naturally aligned experiences begin appearing in your life. You stop forcing opportunities, and opportunities begin finding you. Because energy matters, people can feel desperation, but they can also feel peace. When you are constantly afraid of abandonment, you unconsciously push people away. But when you become grounded within yourself, you radiate safety, and secure energy attracts healthier connections. There is also something important about healing that many people do not talk about enough. Healing is not linear. Some days you feel powerful, focused, at peace, and then suddenly, a memory hits you, a song, a photo, a place, a random thought at night, and emotions rise back to the surface again. That does not mean you failed. That does not mean you are back at the beginning. It simply means your body is still processing emotions. Healing happens in layers. Every time emotions surface, you are being given another opportunity to release them. That is why practices like meditation, journaling, movement, and mindfulness are so powerful, because unprocessed emotions remain trapped inside the body, and many people try to heal only through thinking. But healing also requires feeling. Sometimes tears are not weakness, and sometimes tears are emotional detox. Your body releasing energy it has carried for too long, and the moment you stop resisting emotions, they begin moving through you instead of controlling you. This is why emotional awareness changes lives. Most people suppress emotions until they become anxiety, resentment, exhaustion, or numbness. But conscious healing asks you to sit with yourself honestly, to listen, to become aware of your patterns, to understand why you reacted the way you did, to understand your fears, your attachment wounds, your emotional triggers. Because self-awareness creates freedom. Something else begins happening as you heal. You start reconnecting with life again. You begin enjoying simple moments, a workout, a conversation, a peaceful morning, being around good energy, taking care of your body, laughing again. And these moments matter more than you realize, because healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes healing looks like slowly returning to yourself. You start eating normally again, sleeping better again, feeling present again, and one day you suddenly realize you went hours without thinking about them. Then eventually, days become lighter too. This is how healing happens. Quietly, gradually, patiently, not overnight. And that is why you must stop rushing your transformation. A flower does not bloom faster because it feels pressured. Growth requires time, compassion, presence, patience. Allow yourself to become someone new. One of the hardest parts of healing is accepting that the past cannot be relived. You cannot return to old versions of yourself, old timelines, old dynamics. Even if reconnection happens someday, it would require different levels of consciousness from both people, different communication, different emotional maturity, different awareness, because repeating old patterns creates the same pain. And sometimes people romanticize the past because it feels emotionally familiar. But familiarity is not always alignment. This is why conscious healing matters. You are not here to repeat cycles forever. You are here to evolve beyond them. And maybe the relationship taught you boundaries, self-respect, patience, discernment, resilience. Maybe it taught you to finally choose yourself. Because some people enter your life not to stay forever, but to awaken parts of you that were sleeping. And painful experiences often become the greatest catalyst for transformation. So if you are currently healing, do not judge yourself for still having moments of sadness. Do not shame yourself for missing them sometimes. You are human, but also remember this. Missing someone does not always mean they are meant to return. Sometimes it simply means they mattered. And you can appreciate the lessons without abandoning your future. Because your life is still unfolding. New beginnings are still waiting for you. New experiences, new connections, new versions of yourself. The universe does not remove something without creating space for something else. But first, you must stop clinging to what no longer aligns and trust the unknown, because the unknown is where your next transformation lives. Repeat these affirmations with yourself. I release the past with love. I trust that what is meant for me will never miss me. I no longer chase what is not aligned. I choose peace over attachment. I allow myself to heal fully. I am becoming stronger, wiser, and more conscious every day. I attract healthy, aligned, and loving connections. I surrender control and trust divine timing. I am no longer fear. I am love. I welcome new beginnings into my life. If this message resonated with you, comment below and share where you are currently in your healing journey. And if you are ready to continue healing, growing, and transforming into your highest self, subscribe to Healing Energy Within and join this journey with us. Remember, the ending was not the end of you. It was the beginning of your evolution.